Chapter 2, The Yule Lodestone. Holly and Jack followed the shimmering trail of magic, its iridescent hues dancing through the air like a spectral aurora. The path led them away from the town hall, winding through the cobblestone streets of Merry Hollow until they stood before an ancient stone building, its facade covered in ivy and frost. The sign above the door creaked gently in the winter breeze, the words Merry Hollow Library etched into the weathered wood. "The magic leads here?" Holly whispered, her breath misting in the cold air. She glanced at Jack, her green eyes reflecting the dancing lights of the magical trail. Jack nodded, his gaze fixed on the entrance. "It seems our answers are hidden within these walls." They stepped inside, the heavy oak door groaning shut behind them. The library was dimly lit, the air thick with the scent of old parchment and dust. Rows of towering bookshelves stretched out before them, their surfaces coated in a thin layer of frost. The magical trail flickered, guiding them deeper into the labyrinth of knowledge. Holly's fingers traced the spines of the books as they walked, the leather bindings cold to the touch. She could feel the hum of magic within the pages, the stories of Merry Hollow's past whispering to her. Jack's steps echoed beside her, his ice-blue eyes scanning the shelves, his analytical mind piecing together the puzzle of their predicament. The trail led them to a dusty corner, the magic pulsating brighter as they approached. A small, unassuming book lay on the floor, its cover worn and tattered. Holly reached down, her hand hovering over the book for a moment before picking it up. As she did, the magical trail flickered and vanished, absorbed into the pages within her grasp. "What is it?" Jack asked, his voice low, his breath visible in the chilled air. Holly opened the book, her eyes widening as she read the inscription on the first page. "It's a journal. It belongs to one of Merry Hollow's founders." As she flipped through the pages, a small, glowing object tumbled out, clattering onto the floor. It pulsed with strange, colorful lights, casting an ethereal glow over the dusty corner of the library. Holly and Jack exchanged a look, the weight of their discovery settling over them like a heavy cloak. "The Yule Lodestone," Holly whispered, her voice barely audible. The artifact pulsed in response, its lights flickering in a rhythm that seemed to echo the beating of their hearts. The magic of Merry Hollow hummed around them, the air crackling with an energy that was both familiar and foreign, a symphony of holidays intertwined in a dance as old as time itself. Holly's fingers traced the pulsating lights of the Yule Lodestone, its energy humming beneath her touch. Suddenly, the sharp click of boots on the wooden floor echoed through the library. Brigadier Nutcracker appeared from the shadows, his uniform crisp, his wooden face carved into a stern expression. "Brigadier," Holly acknowledged, her voice a whisper. "You know about this?" Nutcracker nodded, his painted eyes fixed on the lodestone. "That artifact has been hidden for centuries. It's the Yule Lodestone, a beacon for holiday magics. It draws them in, amplifies them." Jack's brow furrowed, his gaze shifting from the lodestone to the Nutcracker. "Why was it hidden?" "The founders of Merry Hollow used it to harness the winter spirits, creating the eternal Christmas that had become the town's hallmark. But its power was unpredictable and wild, like a storm that could change direction at any moment. Left unchecked, it could attract and manifest any holiday magic indiscriminately, inviting chaos into their carefully maintained world." Nutcracker's voice was grave, his wooden joints creaking ominously as he stood at attention, the weight of his duty etched into every line of his carved face. Holly's grip tightened around the lodestone, her knuckles turning white as she felt the raw, untamed power throbbing beneath her fingers. The thought of Merry Hollow succumbing to magical anarchy sent a shiver down her spine. "We can't let that happen," she whispered, her voice barely audible yet filled with determination. "Merry Hollow wouldn't survive the chaos. Everything we know and love would be torn apart." Jack placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, his touch steady and calming. His ice-blue eyes reflected the lodestone's pulsating lights as he gazed at it, his mind already working through potential solutions. "We need to control it, contain its power," he he said, his voice firm with resolve. We can't afford to let this force run wild. Nutcracker reached into his coat, his carved fingers pulling out a small, intricately carved charm. It was a miniature nutcracker, its surface etched with runes that glowed softly, casting dancing shadows on the wooden floor. This charm will suppress the lodestone's attraction power temporarily, he explained, holding it out towards them. But mark my words, it's not a permanent solution. We'll need to find a way to truly control the lodestone's magic. Holly took the charm from him with a nod of thanks, her fingers tracing the delicate runes. As she brought the charm closer to the lodestone, the artifact's pulsating lights dimmed, its hum quieting to a gentle murmur. The air in the library seemed to sigh in relief, the tension easing as the immediate threat was contained. Yet, they all knew this was just the beginning. The true challenge lay ahead, hidden in the uncertain path towards mastering the Yule Lodestone's wild magic. What do we do next? Holly asked, looking up at Jack and Nutcracker, her green eyes reflecting the soft glow of the charm. The question hung in the air, a challenge waiting to be met. Holly tucked the Yule Lodestone and the suppressing charm into her satchel, the weight of their discovery pressing heavily on her shoulders. She exchanged a determined look with Jack, his ice blue eyes reflecting the dim library lights. We need to keep it safe, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's take it home. Jack nodded, his gaze sweeping over the ancient books surrounding them. Agreed. We can't risk leaving it here. They made their way out of the library, the heavy oak door creaking shut behind them. The streets of Merry Hollow were quiet, the usual hum of festive activities subdued by the lingering unease from the bonfire's appearance. The lodestone's glow peeked out from Holly's satchel, casting dancing shadows on the cobblestone path. As they walked, Holly's mind raced, sifting through potential solutions. We could try to reverse the lodestone's activation, she suggested, her breath misting in the cold air. Or maybe find a way to channel its power safely. Jack listened, his brow furrowed in thought. Those are good starting points. But we need to understand why it activated now. What's changed? Holly bit her lip, her green eyes scanning the familiar streets as if seeking answers in the frost-kissed windows and wreath-adorned doors. The bonfire appeared after we announced our wedding. Could it be related to that? Jack's stride slowed, his gaze shifting to Holly. You mean, our union might have triggered something? She shrugged, her curls bouncing gently. It's worth considering. We've both grown and changed over the past year. Maybe our combined magic had an effect on the lodestone. A small smile played at the corners of Jack's mouth. That's a theory worth investigating. They turned onto Candy Cane Lane, their home coming into view. The gingerbread house stood warm and inviting, its frosted eaves glinting under the moonlight. The lodestone's glow seemed to brighten, its pulsating lights casting a kaleidoscope of colors on the snow-covered path. Holly paused at the door, her hand on the knob. Whatever happens, we face it together, she said, her voice steady with resolve. Jack covered her hand with his touch warm and reassuring. Together, he echoed, his eyes reflecting the lodestone's dance of light. As they stepped inside, the lodestone's glow filled their home, illuminating the cozy interior with a symphony of colors. The challenges ahead were uncertain, but one thing was clear, Holly and Jack were united, their bond stronger than any magic they might face.